So I've come out this morning to a place that I've been wanting to photograph for a little while, or this area, and I was tipped off by Andy Campbell about a location at this location with these magnificent trees. They look like they should be in Africa is the best way I could describe it. There's this big open bit of land. I do apologise for any wind noise, by the way, it's quite blowy. Yeah, there's this big open bit of land, and these trees do look like they should be situated on the African plains. I'm waiting for a tiger to jump out. Anyway, this morning I was hopeful for a bit of mist. It was forecast, the grass is very wet, the dew point is high, it was very cold in the night, but for some reason the wind has picked up and it's about 12-13 mile an hour winds now, and unfortunately there's no mist. So I'm a little bit gutted because this location would work really well with mist, so it's definitely somewhere I'm going to have to come back, but I'll treat this morning as a bit of a recce, see if we can get any nice images, and yeah, just have a little mooch around really, but let's see what we can come up with. So as you can see, really beautiful location and would look really good with some mist. Bit gutted, but that's the way it goes. New location, new compositions, new images. So I've got a composition set up, and I'm going to take two exposures, one for the sky and one for the foreground. I found this beautiful tree. If anybody knows what sort of tree they are, by the way, let me know, because I don't know what they are. Beautiful tree arcing over, positioned it on the left hand third, and then you've got the other trees just thrown off into the background, and then this beautiful sky that's just starting to catch some colour. Still about half an hour before sunrise. I'm at f5.6, focusing on the tree in front of me. Not worried about focus dropping off, because it's just natural, and it won't drop off too much because I'm in at about 50mm. So focusing on that tree, ISO 200 f5.6, and just a polarizer, and that's about it. Got a 2.5 second exposure for the foreground. That looks nice. And then I'm just going to expose under one stop for the sky, and that's at 1.6 seconds. Got it. Let's move on, see if we can find another composition. And yeah, I'll pop that one up on screen for you guys in a sec. Tips for composition. I was just thinking about this. I've just been walking down along all these grasses in amongst the trees, and something caught my eye that would not normally catch my eye. I'm often looking for a vast kind of vista, some nice focal point, and something to focus on, and some beautiful sky. That's kind of my thing. That's how my eyes are trained to look. For compositions, basically. And as we go along this process of landscape photography and the journey of composition and how everything comes together to create a photograph, I think to myself, what are the things that I think about when I'm composing an image? And the first thing I think about is, will it look good on somebody's wall? And as I was walking past this scene, I thought to myself straight away, bang, there's a photo there. And it's just a case right now of manipulating my tripod inch by inch by inch to the right location to make sure that I get this shot in the bag. I'm going to wait for some light. I'm going to get it anyway now, and then I'm going to wait for some light and get it again, because I'm quite excited about this photograph actually. It's definitely not anything like I've photographed before. It's very abstract, very simplistic. It doesn't show off this amazing location that I'm in, but I'm excited about this photograph, which is strange, but it's one of those things with composition that catches your eye, and the first thing you think about is, yes, that would work really well for an image. And that's something I always think about when I'm composing a photograph, is will it look good on somebody's wall? Will it look good in my living room? Would it look good at my mum's house? Would it look good anywhere? And also what paper it's printed on, and the colours that I can envision and capture at this scene when the light comes. And yeah, this composition caught my eye instantly. I was walking straight across here, down towards the trees, and this caught my eye straight away. So I'm blabbing on. I'm manipulating my tripod and moving it around inch by inch. Not even inches, it's smaller than inches, trying to frame this shot. And I'm going to leave it at 3:2 aspect ratio on the back of my screen, although it might work in a 1:1 square, but we can have a look at that later on when we get back to the PC. So this is very abstract, but it works as a photograph, and it works as an image to be printed on somebody's wall. And I've got these 4 trees, and they are all looking the same. They're all the same tree, whatever this type of tree is. And there's one bigger one in the foreground, slightly smaller one, and then slightly smaller one thrown off into the bokeh, into the distance. And they just aligned as I was walking past, and no sky, no nothing, just looking down on the trunks of the trees as they disappear into the blurry background, into the reeds. And I'm taking focus on the initial tree right in front of me, and making sure that this is absolutely pin sharp. I do have a little bit of wind, so I'm going to get a tiny bit of camera movement possibly, but it should be alright up on top of this tripod. We are going to get movement in the grass, but I quite like that, it adds to the atmosphere. So I'm going to take the shot now, wait to see if there's any light, to see if I can take the image again. But I don't often get excited about photos like this. It's different, and it looks good. It does look good. So settings are 6 seconds, f8, ISO 100, a tad of polarization, and that is just bringing out those colours in the grass, and the golden grass. And let's take the shot. Got it. So got that image in the bag. I'm still here, I'm still shooting the same scene. The sun is coming up over the horizon now, and it does look like I'm in a desert somewhere in the middle of Africa. It's absolutely beautiful, big golden sun, and now I'm just hoping that we're going to get a little bit of light just to light up this scene and make it even better. So that's the thing with composition, is this composition in particular doesn't abide by any of the rules. It doesn't abide by the rule of thirds, it doesn't have any diagonals, it just looks good to the eye. And that's one rule I always abide by. Does it look good to your eye? Does it look good on the back of your screen? Will it look good when it's printed? And if you go by those rules, you'll probably find yourself shooting a lot more and not trying to follow the rules of composition. Composition is a very, very weird thing. That's why I always say, does it look good on the back of your screen, and will it look good when it's printed on a piece of paper and hung up in someone's living room or coffee shop? And if the answer is yes, take a shot. So now we're just starting to catch a little bit of light on the side of the trees, and I'm just waiting for a bit of light to start kissing on the grass, and it's just going to lift this whole scene, and it's just going to add that extra dynamic to make it even better. I've never really been excited about a photograph like this, but it does excite me, and it does look good on the back of my screen, and it will look really nice when I print it. So making sure focus is absolutely pin sharp on the initial tree, and then we're just letting it drop off into the background. I'm now shooting at f10, so it's a bigger depth of field, just to bring those trees in a little bit more, make them a little bit sharper, but I do want them to fall off into nothing. 1.6 seconds, ISO 100, and I'm just gonna wait for the light. It's just starting to pour over the top now, and hopefully we can get a tiny little bit of golden light before it gets too high, and that will top it off. So I think that's the best of the light. Really happy with this composition, really happy with how the final image came out, and it's worth waiting around just for a little bit of light. It just lifts the scene, gives it a bit more dynamic, and yeah, just makes that photograph. So I'm going to end this one here. It's definitely a location I need to come back to with less wind, because it would have definitely been misty this morning. The grass is nice and wet, and it would have been lovely this morning if there was no wind. And I'm absolutely gutted, because this composition would be even more special if I had a little bit of mist. So I'm going to wrap this one up. I hope this has been of use to some of you guys out there. If it looks good to you, shoot it, because 9 times out of 10 it's probably going to be right, and it would look good in a coffee shop or on someone's wall. And yeah, just tell yourself that. Does it look good? Will it look good when it's printed? And if the answer is no, change it, make it work. If the answer is yes, and it ignores every rule of composition, just shoot it anyway, because you never know. So back to the car, back home, coffee, breakfast, wake up. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do consider clicking subscribe below, give us a like, tell us what you think down in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next one.